All right. Waiting for some more people to jump in. How we doing today? We got some viewer mail, tips and tricks, or ukulele smorgasbord of information and fun. Did I start this on the wrong? Did I start? There we go. Found it. Katie Sutton, back on. All right. Ready for our intro?
This is a hodgepodge day today, right?
Yes.
Got some announcements. So we have viewer mail.
We
right?
do announcements first, right? And then we'll start it off with
the announcements.
All right. So Wednesday evenings at 7 o'clock, we're going to be starting a Funky Frets show. It'll be kind of like a news broadcast, some fun information, maybe some special guests, some open mic performances, a whole assortment of fun. What do you?
Just move it over a little bit.
And we have, again, today is Sunday at 4 o'clock, one of our
Eastern Standard,
workshop
Eastern Daylight, something.
Session times every Sunday at 2 and 4. Tune in on Funky Frets Facebook or Funky Frets YouTube and catch our workshop series at 2 and 4 every Sunday.
Yes.
We also have our online store. You can call for orders if you don't see something online at funkyfrets.com. You can let us know. We may have it or we can order it. Ship it to you. We do local delivery and curbside pickup.
Yep.
And virtual private lessons. Lots going on now. Hope you're keeping up with everything in the online world. I know Sarah and Craig have another not so mini Uke Fest online because it's huge. They have a large lineup of artists and we're one of their sponsors. Last time we gave away a $100 gift card. We'll have to see what we're doing this time, but it's always a great day. So that's Saturday, the first Saturday in May. All right, let's get started. You gotta do our mail time. Let's get our first letter. You're blocking our mailbox.
Sorry, we have a mailbox.
My mom, Bern, Kurt's wife. Oh, there we go. I'm Kelly. This is my father, Kurt, and my mom and his wife, Bernadette, made us this lovely mailbox for our show today. So let's get our first viewer mail out. We are... Carl from Virginia asks, difference between a note and a chord.
A note and a chord. I have no idea. Let me phone a friend. A note and a chord. Well, when they refer to a note, they're usually typically referring to a single note, like in a melody, right? Like, so that's a melody, single notes. And a chord is harmony. It's multiple notes stacked up vertically or pretty close to being vertically, like the chord. Now in music and in tab, in music they'd be written all lined up vertically, and in tab they'd be vertically with numbers. Melodies are written out sort of more linear. Now there could be multiple melodies creating its own harmony, but that's basically what a note is, single note. Indicated by little black dots on the, hey, here's a note over here. Single note. Doesn't matter which way for the whole note upside down. C.
If we're flipped back left or right.
Now, they do have names. Right? Just think of it as melody, melodic, single notes, harmony, chords, chord progressions, multiple melodies, counter melodies together. That's a good one, right?
I should have a mask and glove on handling our mail. Oh, wait.
Other one?
Yep. We have another letter. What could it be?
Oh, look, we need a hand popping up through there. We got extra hands here somewhere.
Oh, this one actually piggybacks on the last one. Walt asks, how do I read tab?
Oh, tab, yeah. Tab, short for tabulature.
Tabulature.
Like numbers, tabulate something.
So when you
numbers.
see the lines with all the little numbers everywhere.
It's a long history. It's in like folk music, of lute music, like hundreds of years ago. It was more of like, I guess, a folk instrument where people didn't want to spend the time learning the traditional route of going to read music. So it's sort of like it's a shorthand notation for learning the notes. Now, typically it does not have the rhythm. Some magazines have started to try to put rhythm with the notation, but it's now one big drawback with tab for the ukulele or stringed instruments like guitar, ukulele is this. If this is string 1A, in fact, I'll just show you
Use
here.
that, yeah.
Yeah. Just hold it up the right way. This actually would be this A on the ukulele and the treble clef. Right? Now, that A, tab, they would have to show it here, open, or if you could read the note, I could play that A here, or here, or grab a high G and play it here. 4 different places. A, 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 A. It's hard to play it upside down.
Hey, Randall.
These are all the A's. The exact same note, I could play it in 4 different places. And I would interpret where it is. Tab can only show one of those. Now, typically they might show where some artist had played it off of a recording, like in a guitar tablature or something like that off of the recording. And that's it. It's like a paint by numbers almost. I would sometimes do it as paint by numbers. It has 4 lines if it's the ukulele. The line towards the floor is the nose. And the one here is the top. Think of it this way too. Is higher notes are on the music staff higher and lower notes are lower. So the same thing with tab. This is string 1 up here. If this was a 5-string ukulele. Oh, it's a 4-string.
I hit it.
String 2, 3, 4. Toes to nose. Low notes, except for string 4.
So it would be numbered starting up here.
Works like music too. Now, one thing tab does not do is music really shows the contour. Let's grab an example here, Kurt. Okay, I will. Thank you. But you can really see in tablature, like here, let's take Lonesome Valley. I have to do a extreme close-up on one of them. But you can see the contour of the music, how the notes are getting higher and lower. It helps you with reading it. Whereas in tablature, it might be just numbers higher or lower all along one string, and you sort of lose
then the
that
numbers
continuity.
On the string
is the fret. The number is the fret.
So if it's on string 1, if it says
0, it's open, and each fret is a 1, 2, 3, 4, just goes sequentially up. You have to decide which fingering. Typically, music doesn't have any information of where to play it unless it's like a classical guitar piece that somebody sort of notated.
All right.
All right. So that's tab. Tablature. Music on ukulele is not that hard to learn to read.
Brief explanation.
Yeah.
Everything is backwards. Yeah, we didn't flip it this time. It is backwards because it's not really like too much of a learning thing.
I'll flip here.
So, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Now we're going to throw in a little tip. If you have a strap button or a plug in for your cable, so you can put your strap here, but you don't have the button here, we see a lot of people who have like a jumbled mess, like a knotted mess up here for their strap, or they loop it through
a bunch of times.
No, just once. They loop it under the strings, tie a knot, and then your strap doesn't start till way up here.
Yeah.
So this is Kurt's little trick.
What's that?
And you're going to take, you do have a trick, yes. Wait, hold this up here, right here.
All right.
So you're going to take your little, most straps come with this string, or you can get like a short cording. take your two ends together, and this will give you a cleaner look for your strap up here. And then you're going to feed it up underneath your strings above the nut here. Take your two ends and then you're going to put it through your loop here. Like that. Make a slip. What? This is what you showed. This is what you do.
No, what I do is the knot on the end, more importantly.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah, I'm going to do that, though, but that's fine.
And then you want to just leave enough room that you can get your strap in here comfortably to move around a little bit, but not
just
too much.
Or get in the way of your thumb. That's
again, you'll be up out of the way. And then from the back, you're just going to make your knot. And then your strap looks nice.
Yeah. So when you make your knot, there's another way to do it too.
You do it a different way.
Hold the uke. Right. This is Debbie's
jewel. Jewel. I'll just hold it other way, guys.
Chewy nuts. So you kind of go through it like this.
With one end.
Yep. And then come through the other end. But the key to tying the knot is don't tie it like you're tying your shoe. I will take the two ends like this, and this will be my knot. I'm coming through here. I'm going to get a nice cleaner knot, sort of like this. If you can see close up.
You didn't show me the updated way. That's what you did last.
Yep. A little cleaner knot versus like trying to tie your shoe. That works pretty well, but.
Oh yeah, but up.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
So that's our quick little tip.
Or just get a strap button.
Or a strap button. Yeah. But that's another, okay, so that's another question I'm going to just throw in ourselves.
Where should it go?
Do I need one here? If you have a soprano uke, I would always suggest to tie it up here because otherwise your strap's going to come from here and then over, it'll be right here and it's going to be like cinched. Yeah. Like you have a...
The biggest reason for a strap is this.
Yeah. Woo!
You can let go with your uke either end and you're not going to drop it. Now, best place for a strap button, there's two schools of thought. Some people will put it here on the end, but there's not a lot of wood there. But do a pilot hole, stuff like that. But here's the better spot.
On the
underside of the whole neck part, heel where it meets the body, because then your strap supports the ukulele a lot.
It lays
and
nice.
It won't fall forward like this. If you have it here on that end, it tends to fall forward and can come off easily. So this is a good one. Gives it a lot more support. So a strap is good. So basically with ukuleles, geared tuners and a strap, because you don't want to support it and hold it. You want your hands free just to move around.
And strap or no strap is always a big controversy, so play whatever's comfortable.
That's always a Mal can follow easily. Left-handed. No, we're not upside down though from Mal.
So Marion just asked, my uke playing is stifled, not relaxed. How do I begin to ease up and getting more fluid?
Yeah.
Do you mean your left hand or your right hand
just
or both?
Relax.
Yeah, your whole body. Maybe if you don't have a strap, you might feel like you're holding on to your uke real tight and then you can't play, so that might help you.
And then technique. A lot of people, you're not drawn to a musical instrument because, I'm going to spend like hours. It's like hitting the gym, I'm not going to spend hours and hours at the, working on little technique drills and different stuff like that. You're drawn to it because of the music. You want to reproduce what you hear. But your technique allows you to play. There was an old jazz guitarist. He says, I saw a little list, I have it somewhere. It says, the better you get at your music, your instrument, the better people you play with, the more fun you have, and it just keeps cyclical, keeps going.
Oh, a cycle.
Yep. And from the time you're born, your musical ear and your brain have made a connection. Because we recognize songs, kids try to sing melodies and jump around dancing. Whatever age you were, when they stick a musical instrument in your hand that involves your hands, your ear is that far ahead of your hands. So I was 9 or 10 years old. I don't think I have the best ear all the time, but I'll always work at it. So I have some students. One of them, Jim, says, "You mean my hands are 65 years ahead of my..." Yeah. So your hands are ear. Yes, they cannot see or hear a thing. So they need constant training to execute what you can hear sometimes already in your inner ear. So it just takes a lot of work. But there, just don't press a lot. Here's a good technique thing, little side technique. Got this from a classical guitar form. It involved the number 2 pencil, but I changed it to a carpenter's pencil. Sometimes I would actually, if you took a carpenter's pencil and placed it flat on a surface like this, and then went and picked it up with your fingers and your thumb, balance your thumb's going to go naturally right behind your fingers. That is the same as if you're playing your instrument. You put all your fingers, and your thumb's only job is to support the fingers you're pressing. Then do this. Take one finger maybe. Take like fret 3 on string 1. Just put it right behind that fret. Right behind the fret. Don't even press. And you should get a duck. Quack, quack. No note. Then slowly press. You'll get a buzz. Then press a little bit more. And as soon as you get a good clean note, you're done. You've done the minimum amount of work necessary to get the notes out. If I press too hard, you can bend the note. Too much work. So I can come on and off the notes really fast. So you might practice that. First time you might even not even play it, just look behind the fret and make sure you're not sneaking from the frets. Right behind the fret. You'll hear people say just put it in between the frets. Further you're away from the fret. As soon as I move away from the fret a little bit, I'm back to the buzz.
So she's saying her timing is not fluid.
Timing?
That could be
rhythm? Yeah, that's rhythm.
Like if you're not getting your chords, muscle memory of your chords, if you're not getting there quick enough, or
we're working with the dreaded
metronome.
Yes, people hate them.
You could download an app on your phone. Some of the Snark tuners have metronomes in them, or you can buy separate little metronomes. And what do you set yours at to practice typically?
Slow. Start at like 60, 50 or 60.
Beats per minute?
Yeah, here's 50. I'll do 60. Sometimes you close your eyes so you can like focus just on the sound. It turns out quarter notes are hardest to do. Do a whole note, like go 1, 2, 3, 4 switcher, or 1, 2, 3, 4. A metronome is sort of like the best drummer there is. He only has one beat, one stick, but he's actually pretty good at it. Then slowly, if you're doing drills, just work with it. Metronome is an external time source to help you develop a good internal time. We already have a sense of internal time. In fact, if somebody ever asks you, or somebody says they do not have rhythm, just ask them to count to 4. Chances are they will count evenly 1, 2, 3, 4. Then they have rhythm. So the rhythm is counting like 1, 2, 3, 4. What the metronome helps is this, because we will subconsciously wait for our fingers like 1, 2. Like someone don't do a chord C to G. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. See, I waited, right? You'll wait for your hands. But if you have this metronome on 1, 2, 3, 4. Do a hard chord E. Right? I waited, so you'll be able to tell that you missed it. So yeah, it's just practice. It's just work at it, work at it, work at it.
So like multiple factors go into timing.
Yeah, do it slow. Set yourself up for success.
Another
male. We have a male thing here. An orb from the planet Musica.
Bill from sunny Florida.
Oh, Bill, how you doing, Bill?
Why should I upgrade my uke from my beginner uke I first purchased?
Think of ukuleles like cars. You know, they're all sort of built the same. Cars have wheels and tires and engines and stuff. It all comes down to where it was built, what it was built with, who built it, who sold it, what the marketing and everything is. And it's just a better quality instrument. It's easier to play. I can guarantee you.
Well, for years, I always, like, we'd go to coffee shops. Like, Philly Mainline Group has a jam at the Steel City Coffee House or Green Fork in Wayne. And I always would, why would you take your like handmade thousands of dollar ukulele to the coffee shop? It might get ruined. But now then I upgraded my own uke, and I was like, oh wow, no, this is so much more comfortable, easier to play. Of course, that's what I want to take and play.
Yes. It will make it easier, but think of it also sort of like a golfer. I don't really golf, but some people golfers will chase buying clubs. Guitar players will chase buying gears, this guitar, that guitar, stuff like that. But ultimately, there's a famous story. Chet Atkins was being interviewed by a newspaper reporter, and he was playing his guitar. Chet Atkins is a famous guitar player. He was A&R guy from RCA Records, famous country player. And the guy said, boy, that guitar sounds really good. So Chet got up, took the guitar off and put it on the stool and said, how's it sound now? So it won't make you a better player. It'll make it, whatever you're doing, easier to do.
Well, and like...
Yeah, to set up better. Yeah. I asked the guy I studied with for years and years, Chuck Anderson. I had a jazz guitar, and I had a really good one. I asked him, should I get like an inexpensive one to take out the gigs? You hate taking out really good stuff because you hear about people's instruments being stolen.
Yeah, like why would you take it to a coffee house or a barn?
You'll take the good one out.
And that's
right?
what,
Yeah.
Sometimes the like starter ones might be overbuilt, so your sound might not be as resonant. Yeah. So
beginner people
enjoy the sound better of a solid top wood.
And beginners need better instruments than people that have been playing and are more seasoned. We have more viewer mail.
Yep.
A delivery.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonnie, my mom wrote down your note and delivered it.
Yeah, Bonnie
Express mail from the living room computer up to
there you go. Yeah.
The studio computer.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Bonnie from Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Says, where's it at?
What?
Dropped it. Oh.
No. What to do to get your fingers to stretch? I was going to joke and say you could do jumping jacks.
Yeah, almost
exercise.
Like
what? I do this with, I'm a little student. He's like 5. And to get ready, I'm like, let's warm up our fingers. And we go 1, 2.
Hand yell, warm it up, hand yell. 10 fingers.
He likes it. He gets a kick out of it. It's our jumping jacks for hands.
Now, people will ask, like, you've seen these devices, like the balls for gripping them and all these stretchy things for your fingers. You have in your hands, if you have a ukulele in your hands.
Okay,
now,
side note, bad marketing. We sell those finger exercises at the music store. People will pick them up to buy them, and Kurt just says, you don't need that. Just play. Just play your uke.
Some customers at the store, like, they're really shocked that we will talk them out of wanting to buy something. It's like, wait a second, aren't you in business to sell stuff? Yes, but only if you actually really need it. And right.
I ordered the hand things by accident. I put the wrong code in, and we got...
This is your best instrument. Now, for stretching, you can do this. Do like a 4-fingered exercise and take 1 finger and stretch it higher. And do them nice and slow.
So instead of 1 finger on frets 1, 2, 3, 4, you do 1, 2, 3, and 5.
Yes. Now our fingers are made up so that they can stretch. Fingers 1 and 2 can stretch. 3 and 4 can stretch. 1 and 3 can stretch. 2 and 3, when they're curled nicely for playing the instrument, they do not like to stretch. In fact, we don't even bother trying to stretch fingers 2 and 3. It just physically does not work on the human hand. But I can stretch my pinky 1 fret higher. I can stretch finger 1 or 2 frets higher on ukulele. I can stretch finger 3 higher. Yeah, it's just play it slow in the lower fret area.
And that's a good, you can do it while your family's watching TV. You can just sit there and do that and not make any noise.
This is TV practice. Take it and hold it too. When you're doing this, keep the other fingers close, pointing to the strings. Hold it 20, 30 seconds. Now move them back and forth along the strings. 2 fingers do every possible combination except for 2, 3. Do 1, 2. Maintain a good position. Don't do this. Right? 1, 3. Now, on ukulele, higher up the neck, you can stretch pretty far. Now, over time, this will happen too.
Shorter.
You can, your hand, my one hand, I can stretch my fingers further on my one.
On your left?
Yeah. And I can do it like this. Like I can stretch them out here like this, and I can take that 1 finger and stretch that a lot further out than the others. And that's over decades of
Oh,
playing musical instruments.
mine's like that too, and I only have.
Yeah, your hands
years.
your hands will deform.
But I hardly
Like
ever
here,
use my
look, too, I can
pinky, so
stretch.
I wonder why.
I can stretch here too. I can stretch them further. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Hmm.
They'll adapt.
And also your
Keep it
finger,
straight.
your thumb placement too will help you
Yeah.
if you have it properly.
Yeah, if you
You
hold it
can't
like
stretch as far if your thumb's all the way up.
Yeah, if you're grabbing it like this, the only time you want your thumb above the neck is if you're carrying it. Other than that,
And
back to
then
that
that'll help
pencil
you
thing.
spread your
Yeah.
fingers more.
Grab a pencil. Yep.
Cool. All right.
Yep.
Ding dong. Ring the bell.
Hold on.
You didn't use the mallet.
I keep thinking of the movie Grease when they had.
I just keep thinking Blue's Clues with the for mail time. Jill from Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Oh, another.
Do,
This
Jill?
is back on the no. What if I don't have strap buttons? Well, we kind of touched a little bit on that. Would it be possible to add? Yes. Will it affect the sound?
Not at all. Usually that goes on the sides, right? And there's most ukuleles have a wood block back here, very hard wood. For the sides, there's a seam back here to be glued together. Up here, the neck material on a ukulele is a lot of times mahogany or really a hard wood. You just have to drill a pilot hole. Now, I had a student that had a little dolphin who had a plastic one
Back and
piece.
sides.
Yeah, and so he was he was an electrician, so he was pretty handy with tools and stuff like that. So I gave him a strap button. I says, you might have to like get in there and put like a washer and a nut on the other side. But he just put it in there without nothing, and it stayed. Now there is I don't know the brand, but some of the inexpensive brands, really inexpensive, will not have that heel block, and the wood's really thin. So just look in the sound hole, and sometimes you can see that
With a flashlight
block of wood in there. And you just drill a pilot hole and put it in. You know, I've gotten to where I can just sort of eyeball to get the center. And
or bring it to Funky Fritz,
yeah,
and we'll do it for you.
it takes 5 minutes. We put them on for free when you buy ukuleles from us.
If you request it, yes.
Yep. Lanakai, they come with
Lanakai.
They come with strap buttons on there. They have them here though.
Yeah, I'm gonna change mine. We gotta try that on mine.
Yeah, you can change it.
Take it out, little putty it, and fix it.
Yeah. So I think they do it. One reason is ukulele, sometimes the bridge is not compensated, and you could flip a left-handed, right-handed pretty easily. So the strap button's in the wrong spot, but yeah, strap buttons are good.
All right.
They support the ukulele.
Our sound effect man is
I'm sorry, I'm doing double duty here, double duty.
I should have the bell.
I had a couple questions to ask myself too, but people ask.
Another letter.
Oh, let's see where we are.
Magically appeared in our mailbox.
Let's see, look.
Anonymous viewer. I love your YouTube channel. Thank you. I've never played an instrument and I have no rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
Can I learn ukulele?
Yes. Here's what ukulele is. It's lightweight, affordable, portable, 4 fingers, 4 strings, no strumming accuracy, very low expectations, and I added, where else can you go and sing and play poorly with 40 other like-minded individuals and have a blast? It's very low on the judgment. It's very no judgmental players, right? The ukulele community is so open to helping other
Welcoming,
people.
yes.
Showing you chords, showing you bad fingerings. It doesn't matter. You know, you get lots of information.
A lot of people say too, oh, I'm not ready for a jam. But there's so many people. There's so many people that you can just either sit and strum, and then you'll get a feeling of, you know, the strumming and the rhythm and the
you can sing
things like that.
Play air ukulele, play the chords you know.
Sit next to people that know what they're doing, then they'll give you tips
Like
and tricks.
If you're playing a C chord
effect.
or an F and you don't hit it, chances are most other people are playing it. Now, if it's a B minor 6 or something like that, well, it's pretty much silence for a measure until
Jim Brady's saying he's
back.
proof, never played an instrument, and he's
Yes,
playing.
anybody can learn. Dr.
Doing
Seuss said that there's nobody in the world that is youer than you.
Ding dong.
You will be the best you there is.
Yeah.
Now, some people say they're just not that good at it, but
As long as you're having fun.
Yep, I will develop players. You'll be the will develop you to the highest level of mediocrity that you can keep. Get. So you'll be the best
That's
at what you
for.
do.
That's mediocre.
Just stick with it. Stubbornness and determination will do it. There's no shortcut. It's work.
Alright, next. Suzanne, when a song sheet says G/B, what is that? What do I do?
No, I don't have no idea. Sorry. Next. D.
You're my phone a friend. No. Next.
Yeah, right. I'd like to buy a vowel.
Wait, let me Google that. Hold on.
No.
Siri, what is G/B?
A chord is a capital letter and type information after it. So it's one of the 7 letters in the musical alphabet. It might have sharps or flats with it, but it's a chord and type information. Now, major is the most common chord type, so it doesn't, you don't have to write the information after it. But all those numbers and everything after it is the information. Historically, chords were not written as they are now. They were written what they called like figured bass. They would actually write the root note that you need and then the intervals of the other notes above it. Now it's just written a chord symbol. Now that chord symbol usually means they want, and we can't do it on ukulele typically, they want the root or letter name of the chord to be the lowest note. Like say a G chord, I have a low G, so I do have a low G, so that's a root voicing kind of chord. If I do C, well, G's the lowest note. So actually when Kelly read that question, she answered the question. Slash, that slash is a slash. And what they're indicating is they want a G chord as the example, but they want B to be the lowest note. So I would have it, I could do it on my low G. Now usually that is to convey a bass line in the music. Like here's an example, C. Now that's the world famous chord progression, the C, G, A minor to the F, a lot of songs. So there I got the bass line, C, G with a B bass note. That slash, the note after the slash could be any letter, sharp or flat, and that is the bass note, the lowest note they want in the chord. Now, on ukulele, you could do a little bit of it with a low G, but on a high G, like here, if I play a G chord and I think I'm going to get the low B, well, my lowest note is D. Now, so you can ignore them on ukulele. Guitar players should not ignore them. They do though. Piano players definitely should not.
Our spray painted box is getting
you got
a bit
mail.
smelly in this little room. Ding dong.
I should do some other questions.
Oh, okay. What?
Some sideline things here.
Sideline notes.
So we had a question. Well, I thought this would be a good question, you know. Building a repertoire of songs, right? So I was thinking about this for myself because I have a list on my phone.
Bonnie said shorter answer.
Shorter answer.
Easier answer. Ignore it unless you're playing bass.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Or if you have a low G, you can get it.
Bonnie, we have an hour to fill, okay?
You can get it also with triads. Here's F with a F bass note. Right? And then the next I can get an E bass note. Right? Now repertoire. I do a lot of instrumentals and I do them in concert. And I haven't done really a lot of concerts lately. I used to do more.
If you'd like to book Kurt
you
Schiller,
can book me. I'm available. I'll drive or fly out.
When gigs start again.
Yeah. I've elected to stay home and work locally and do everything online. But I have a list of all my songs, and I was looking at it the other day. It's a big list. Only a few of them that I could actually really do right now in concerts.
Wait, hold on. You've only been out like twice, right?
When?
You.
For what?
During this quarantine.
I've been out a couple times.
It's my mom and I who are doing grocery shopping, mail delivery for shipments.
The male species is not trusted to go to the store sometimes. Like this. Yeah. But building your repertoire. So I started to think, geez, man, I should really keep up on my songs, but time-wise, it's really hard to keep up once your list of songs that you can play or perform gets like to be like 40, 50, 60 songs or more. You know, it'd be hard to do. Luckily, I write them all out in music or tab so that I can remember them or read them if I have to. But I thought, geez, I should break my repertoire up. because I can keep my playing sort of what I might call at a pro level to play pretty well. But that concert level performance where it's at that next level up, right, that takes more work. But then I thought too, like open mics, things like that. You should have 2 or 3 songs that you can really play. When
Or if
people
you're
ask
out carrying your uke and someone says, "Hey, can you play me a tune?" And
Yeah,
you're like,
right.
I don't have a song sheet.
Yeah.
That would be
You're gonna memorize these.
I'm like, hold on, let me get my paper.
Now, some songs I have what I call Reader's Digest versions of them, really short, and full-length versions. Because at the store, my wife will say sometimes, "Oh, play a song for them on that ukulele." And there's one person standing in front of me, and if I start to play my song, and typically a song I play might be 5 minutes. Man, I would not want to be standing in front of me listening to one person play the ukulele. So I have a Reader's Digest version. One verse, one chorus, and I'm out. But leading jams, just have a certain set of songs that 4 or 5 that you can do an open mic or a jam to get them going, right? And then build up from there. Say a concert. I got called in to sub at a ukulele festival once, and I got the call like a couple days before, right? To do a half hour or to do an hour. It happened twice. One I had to do an hour. Like, oh my God, an hour repertoire. But luckily I had been working on my CD, How About More Uke, so I had those 10 songs that I could flat out play pretty good, so it wasn't so bad. So I had to fill in the hour one with a lot more. But then a really good friend, Glenn, from the All Hot Boys, I came off the stage afterwards. I said, "Man, I'm surprised I made it through an hour performing." He says, "Oh, if you talked more story between the songs, you could have went 90 minutes." So, yeah, but learn a lot of songs. But then have a real certain set of a couple songs that you can really, really just play well. So it's different levels of songs that you can do.
Because in a lot of jams too, they'll take a break and randomly they'll just say, "Hey, how about anyone open for an open mic?" And who's ready? And everyone, not it.
Yeah. So I have some songs that I know I cannot forget, and I play a lot. But other ones, I just sort of like, oops,
My
I haven't
repertoire.
played that one in a year.
Row. Go ahead. Ding dong.
Ding dong. No witch is dead.
Jim Brady said it's because elder folks are supposed to stay home right now.
Yeah, we are. That's
So
right.
that's
If
why
you're over
you're-
65, yeah. Jeez. Like I was just thinking today, I'm a year off and how old I thought I was.
I did that once. I thought I was like 33 and
I'm a year older than I thought I was
year.
for 3 months.
Oh, I did a whole year once.
Man. Yeah.
Kelly from Pottsgrove, why isn't ukulele skill an inherited trait?
Because you're not born being able to play a musical instrument.
I did not inherit.
No, I did not either. There was nobody in my family, no artist. There was one artist, but it was just hobby artist. But nobody played musical instruments, so I had no frame of reference for playing a musical instrument.
Everybody assumes that I
You
can
gotta
play
work
and know
at it.
stuff because my
Yes.
dad plays
So
and
don't
knows.
say,
and
I don't want to hear,
know.
I don't have talent. Talent is a fact in retrospect. You don't know you had talent. And talent is usually just determination of wanting to.
Stubbornness.
Want yeah, right. Stick with it. You will hit a plateau in anything you do, and it'll feel like you're not getting anywhere. And one of 2 things happens when you hit this plateau. Is you either quit because you give up, or you stick with it just a little bit and you jump to the next level, and then it starts over again.
That's
It's
when
not
you
a
become bored.
steady rise.
All right, ding
Like
dong.
the stock market, right?
That was a joke, but
Stay
you
in for
answered
the
it
long
anyway.
haul. Which that was a joke, yeah. I was going to do another joke better. Here we got a note. Here. Kurt, when are you going to get a real job and make us proud? Mom, come on, Mom. All right, so. See, like this little tone drum here? I cannot play it. I have no talent for this tone drum. And it's got the letters right on it. No technique. Like people ask what instruments I play. Kurt, what do you play? Well, I can play guitar and play ukulele really well. I can play bass and not sound like a guitar or ukulele player playing
Trying
bass. Right? I teach beginner piano. I cannot play the piano. I know enough to teach beginners. I know a lot about music and theory and all that good stuff, but I have no technique. If I want to walk over and play a F chord on the piano, I have to think, okay, F, A, C, or A, C. I have to think of the notes. My fingers don't go there. So my fingers
But if you put
are,
more time into it, you would be
Yeah.
able to do that.
I said earlier, my hands would be like 60-some years behind my fingers on the piano. I'd like to be able to play it, but not enough. There's not enough time in the.
To master him.
Yeah, right.
Ed from New Hampshire, what good is high G versus low G?
High G,
I'm
low G.
going to set a timer on Kurt on this one because he'll probably be able to go for an hour.
Now, here's the biggest difference. The high G is the traditional re-entry tuning associated with the Hawaiian instrument, the ukulele. And what that gives you in musical sense is the lowest note on a high G is a C. Then you have E. Then you have the G's here. Then you have the A. All four of these notes are within one octave. So they develop, when you play a chord there, what we call closed voicings, or all the notes are with one octave. It gives you this really tight harmony, like a tight harmonizing vocal group, right? So your lowest note, string 3. Now low G, here's my string 3. Now here's that same C here, string 4, fret 5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more lower notes. It goes lower and the middle C. So now these are not within one octave. They're what we call like an open voicing. So that's just the biggest difference. I think it's more like a manufacturer's ploy to get you to buy more instruments. Same thing with the different sizes: soprano, concert tenor, super tenors, all
pineapple with a
They want you to buy more ukes.
concert body with a different scale neck.
So you need a really good uke, then you need a backup. Then you need a durable uke. This is why I have the fluke. That's a nice Koa top. This is a higher end one with a.
And then of each of your size, you need a high and a low string. So
you can take this anywhere you want. You know, I always joke that you can
we
take
don't sell them anymore.
take
so
it canoeing. We
advertise outdoor ukes.
We can get them and stuff like that, but just go online. This is one where the manufacturers a little bit. They have to though to make money, compete with their dealers.
Next.
Sorry.
Oh no, our doorknob fell off.
Yeah, nice.
Our handle. We literally, my mom made this like 10 minutes before we started.
All right, here's the question I have. Here's a question people might have. Ready?
Yeah, I got more.
I'll sidetrack.
Oh.
Boy, I only know a few things on ukulele. Man, I'd love to be able to play for hours. Right? Some people want to do that, right? Well, you don't have to play songs all the time. You can just doodle, draw, just doodle. What I do is take a G chord. You'll learn G probably as your fourth chord, right? And your C, A minor, F, G7, fifth chord, right? G.
Yeah, G.
It's a triad. Move it up. It clearly is changing names, right? Move it up to fret 7. Play it. It's a C chord. Well, I already know a C chord. Here it is. Play the dots. Just fool around with it. Explore. Like somebody hands you like a box of crayons, you know, just start like get a blank piece of paper and just like experiment. You'll turn into songs sometimes too, right?
Bonnie asked.
Again, a different Bonnie?
Yeah, no, same Bonnie.
Bonnie.
The outdoor uke. Are they all made out of the carbon fiber? They're I knew the name polycarbonate, but I forgot the second part that it's a thermoplastic material.
Yeah, it's molded.
Yeah, so the black ones are the
Different plastic.
carbon fiber, and then
They're not carbon fiber.
the black. Well, they call it the carbon fiber.
but it's not carbon
I think
fiber.
they're all the same
It's
material.
just a
though.
different, better carbon plastic.
Yeah.
The carbon fiber is the sort of like fiberglassing kind of thing where they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Linda from
They're nice.
PA.
They do guitar too now.
Is it true that it is the fountain of uke?
Oh, that's
Youth.
a little red.
Play on fountain of youth. Yes. The
Little website is
music heal. We all know music heals. Music makes you happy. Happiness lengthens your life. So I'd say yes, that's true.
Yeah, it is. Music is the ultimate stress buster. As frustrating as whatever you're doing at the time, life, career, to pick up a musical instrument, as frustrating as they can be sometimes, you absolutely forget about everything else. Time goes. Here's Jim Brady asks, does low G change chord shapes? No, they don't change the shapes. All they do is change the arrangement of the notes within that chord. Play a G, low G, G. The G chord is G, B, D. I have G, low G, D, G, B. On the high G, the G would be doubled. That leads to another question. A couple chords people really struggle with. And if you ever play with guitar players, jamming with them, in fact, just before this, I was jamming online with Jack Murray, and he didn't know it, though. He was playing a song in the key of G, some old Johnny Paycheck song, so I was just playing along with them, as I usually do in their weekly jam they don't have anymore. So two chords, and guitar players love the key of A and E because of the low strings on the guitar. They do like G too, which is good on the ukulele. But ukulele players hate A and E, right? You don't play much in them. The reason is, for the key of A, we get the pesky D chord, where you'll see books and charts where they're trying to get you to cram 3 fingers in it. I think in Canada they teach it this way. The Mel Bay guitar book has the equivalent as A, 3 fingers trying to cram into 1 fret. Here is the science behind chord fingering. Music has an art and science. Remember I did the C, I said play right behind the fret. You want to do that for every note in the chord if possible. So I do D like this. I take my 3rd finger, put it on string 2, fret 3. Then I'll play like a D7. Take your 2nd finger, put it on string 4, same fret 2, and both fingers are behind the fret. Then I would just mush my 2nd finger flat, and I have what I affectionately call now mushy D. It's like a rapper, mushy D. All the notes are behind the fret, so I don't have to press that hard, and then I can get to A really fast. D7.
What were we? I was distracted. What are you talking
about? Does it change the shapes?
Sorry.
Right, no, they don't change the shapes.
Oh, back to
another question too.
Looked up. I just looked up the
and low G, high G. What's that?
That's later again.
All right.
I just looked up the website of the different colored outdoor ukes, and they have all the same description, so they're definitely all the same material. So the carbon is just their coloring name.
And it's more expensive. The black ones.
Yeah, right. But it says it's out of the same material, so
yeah, but they charge more.
Maybe it is slightly different.
It's slightly different material. It's not translucent, so that would mean it's a little more dense. It's a father-daughter team out in Oregon. I think he was an engineer by background, so they're all molded.
Yeah.
Hence, everybody keep asking for a concert. It takes a bit to get the tooling up.
Yeah, they do have a new guitar one.
Yeah.
Ding dong.
Pretty nice. Ready? Thanks for Amahi for their tone drum.
Last one.
Right?
Yes, we do sell those.
Yeah, they are pretty nice. They're pretty cool. They're fun.
Last one. Help!
Oh, my E.
I hate E and bar chords.
Oh, God. Okay.
Give me tips.
Chords, I could go on this one. So I did the D. Mushy D. Randall knows mushy D.
He checked his watch. How much time do we have left?
I think Randall does mushy D now. There was a Lancaster harmonic convergence one year, a couple years ago. I did a little survey, informal survey. I walked around and looked at everybody trying to play D. Keyword tried. Most of them were doing 1, 2, 3 or 2, 3, 4, but only a couple were doing mushy D, and they were my students. But I mean, I tried to do it like this, but then it just, if you go for the science behind it. So here's the D. Now E is a whole nother story. It is a real finger buster. It is finger 1 on string 4, fret 1, pinky, string 3, fret 4, and then your 2nd finger is on string 1, fret 2, and string 2 is open. So this is an E chord. And E is an E, G sharp, B. On high G, Now you can. It takes a long time. I can do it now, but I mean, I really practice for this, and I'll show you an exercise to do these. But here's a little tip: if you take your mushy D, right, and you move it up 2 frets to E, listen to this chord. Here's the high B of the E. Now listen again. It doesn't sound like it changed at all, did it?
No.
It actually did not. Here's the reason. Here's my high B. That would be written as like the middle line of the music staff. And then there's an open E. That's the top space, right? No, that's the bottom line, E. And then here's a B up here, right? So I have all the notes I need. Here's E, G sharp, B. The E is doubled. It has a B, and here's G sharp. These are the 2 notes that really is a revelation when I realized this. Now, when I do this one, all right, here is the B. The G sharp is here. That's the same as this G sharp. This E did not change. This E stayed the same, just a different finger. This B did not change. These 2 notes did not change. The doubling changed. It's not doubling E anymore. It's doubling the G, one of the color tones. So this makes this chord, if you strum it right, like I'll pluck it all together like this. Now it sounds subtly different because of the doubling change, but this is the same chord. Now, back to the D, mushy D. Some people will do this D instead. Bar, fret 2, and then the pinky up here. Bad fingering. But, all right, so, but this D has a really high D note. And sometimes it doesn't work so great with the A. D, A to E7, I'll do it. Go to the 1. To me, it sounded like a different player played that. It was slightly like, wait a second, that was.
Where'd that?
Yeah, there wasn't continuity between. This had A open here, and this had A for the D here, and this had B. This A and the B were really close. This A, when I went to this D, this went like different melody, right? So usually strumming, you don't really want a lot of really. If you're strictly strumming and somebody's singing, you don't want a melody to pop out too pronounced. It will overly influence the melody.
And then tip on bar chords.
Here's a bar chord. Now, a bar can be a partial bar right behind 2 strings. Now, here's what you want to do. I've seen people describe it like this, where you get right behind the bar and then you roll it to the nut. Nah, don't do that. You roll it up on the string. So it looks like I'm rolling to the nut, but I am rolling up onto the string. It's going to place my finger in a flatter part of the finger versus the part that's like really curved.
Padded.
Yeah, so the side's a little flatter. So, but I go up on the strings and then check it and then have these fingers free, right? And then do 3 strings. Have these fingers free. Now do all 4 strings. And the only thing you have to do when you're doing multiple strings is make sure like the creases in your fingers aren't directly over where a string is, because then no matter what you do, yeah, right. So you have to find your hand. Everybody's hand's slightly different, but the principles and concepts for fingering notes and chords are the same. You want to get right behind the frets because it's easier. I like easy.
So you're
less work versus more
how
work.
other people roll toward the nut.
If you
You're
roll
rolling
towards the
toward
nut,
the
you
sound
can come
hole.
off of the fret, right? But you want to roll up onto the fret.
So
Then
like,
you don't have to press that much.
like I'm exaggerating,
Yeah.
but it's
So here's a
that,
good bar
right?
exercise. Bar like fret 2 or 1, and then take your 4th finger and play 4 frets higher. Like
and that's also how people say roll like toward the nut, but then when you have to do
It
other
looks
things
like
like that, though, your motion's going the opposite way to get your other fingers places, right? So the way you
Yeah, just
You
go
do
there,
it.
find it.
You're already kind of in that motion to add other fingers.
Yep.
Right? Ooh, darn. Alrighty. Quiet chat. Nobody
Yeah.
else has any questions
Right.
for our viewer mail?
Thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. My uke playing is stifled, not relaxed.
We
Yeah,
took-
just
yeah.
relax. Yeah. Yeah, we're
Alrighty. Well then.
yeah, you want to do less work. There's an auto body shop out of town, the Works Brothers. Two brothers, less and more work. They get paid the same.
That's true.
Yeah, you want to do the least amount of work to get the music out. All the hard work you do should be in understanding how the music works, because then it becomes easier to memorize. Then it's just learning stuff on the ukulele, you know. There's a famous quote by Frank Vignola, a jazz guitarist out of New York that has played with everybody. Young guy too, still probably only in his 40s or something. And people say about improvisation that they struggle with it, especially in the jazz realm where the harmonies changes keys and modulates a lot. It's pretty challenging sometimes. But he says, learn 200 songs, the melodies. Learn the melodies to 200 songs. You'll have no trouble improvising. Because you can take a melody to a song and just phrase it differently. And if you phrase it enough, it comes out sounding like another melody.
Bonnie says, what about using two fingers to make a bar?
Now, if you're doing a chord, like say I'm going to do B minor, you can help it. But if you're just doing a bar with single notes, you really can't help it. But you should get to where you don't have to help it. But here's B minor. And also, don't bar more than you have to. I see it all the time, like B flat. People will do this, barring 4 strings. Well, strings 4 and 3 are being
taken care of.
Yeah, there's nothing. This ain't going to help it, but just put it here. Now, if your finger can bend back a little bit like this, you're good golden with the bar. And another thing, the back of your hand, the knuckles here, they should not be out past the ukulele. And it won't look like a completely flat finger bar, like a capo kind of thing across the strings. You know, it could be slightly curved a little bit. It just has to be, by rolling up the fret, you won't have to press it so hard. You won't have to, yeah, it's just a lot of work.
All right.
Think of it like this. You're not practicing. You're exploring the instrument. It's not theory or rules. It's just principles of how music works. And you're not really playing. You know, you're working. It's work. But the better you get, the more fun you have. Guaranteed. There's a guy who's like me.
Well, little reminder again. Wednesday evenings at 7.
Yes.
7 o'clock, we will be starting our uke show that might have little snippets of things for sale, happenings in the world of ukulele.
Ukulele news.
Maybe some
we get news all
events or new products or anything really.
Yeah, even questions and you can.
Yeah, we can do more viewer mail. Maybe get some some virtual guests into coming on for something. Workshops, you're here, you know about it every Sunday, 2 and 4. And yeah.
If you want a suggestion for a workshop.
Yeah, if you wanted specific topics that we've been, our 4 o'clock one is always like our different topic ones. So send us your requests at funkyfrets@gmail.com. And until then, stay safe and we'll see you Wednesday.
Maybe I'll test you all
for
out.
Our first episode.
Do a new workshop. You could learn Red River Valley.
That'd be a fun one to do.
Yeah.
You're welcome, everybody. And we will
stay safe, have fun.
Stay occupied. Practice your uke.
Steve, I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, that's another little tip
Montgomery.
too. You always, if you keep a uke out on a hook or out seen, you're more likely to grab it for 10 or 15 minutes to play. If they're in the case, those 10 seconds to open your case and get it, or just they feel exhausting and you might not pull it out.
You'll get more out of just the lots of little practices than waiting for that half hour or hour a night. As adults, that doesn't happen.
Oh,
The case is only if you're going to be taking it out of the house.
Jackie, I'm touched that you're gonna miss Jeopardy for our Funky Frets episode 1.
Jeopardy. Oh, wow.
Maybe we'll throw you some ukulele.
We have a
Jeopardy.
ukulele Jeopardy we did at one ukulele fest we did. So maybe we'll have some Jeopardy questions for you, Jackie.
Yeah, we could do some trivia
All right.
questions. All right, have a good night. Happy weekend.